Hey guys, welcome back to Rossoneri TV. I'm Gio and I'm here for the Pescara against AC Milan match review. Match that finished just moments ago, 1-1 being the final score against the bottom of the table Pescara. And really my first reaction to this result is absolutely unacceptable. I think we all knew what importance this game had for us. Like the rest of the games in the Serie A this season, these are all games to win. And especially when you're playing last place Pescara, a team that conceded 66 goals and 29 fixtures this season in the Serie A, and we're still only capable of getting one goal against them is absolutely beyond me. I don't understand how we're not capable of scoring more goals, let alone the performance itself. It was very disorganized, shambolic. I don't even know how to put this performance in rational terms, because really I couldn't make any sense of what happened today. Let's start off though with the very beginning, and after 10 to 15 minutes, we saw Pescara on the score sheet first. And of course, that goal came through an own goal from Paletta, which originally was a pass from Paletta to Donnarumma. The pass wasn't maybe received very well by Donnarumma, or maybe he underestimated the speed of the ball, but before he knew it, it was behind him, it was in the back of the net. And I want to speak about this incident specifically because I've heard many versions of people's interpretations on either social media or on TV who's at fault in this incident. Now, not even looking at the replay, but looking at the live game, as soon as I saw that pass made by Paletta, I knew it wasn't a very good pass. I knew it was a hard pass, a pass that maybe Gigio wasn't really expecting, a pass that maybe was not very precise, I have to say, and I really don't know who to put the blame on for that pass, for that goal, because yes, many people could agree with the fact, or could argue with the fact that, Donnarumma could have done a bit better. He should have been able to stop it. There was no pressure from any opponent. He should have been there physically. He should have been there ready to stop the ball and control it. But I beg to differ from that, because I thought Paletta, I think that pass was just a bit too hard for Donnarumma, and I'm not too sure if Donnarumma was expecting it. Like I said before, it was a bit of a strange situation because Paletta was under pressure, and I understand the necessity of him giving that ball away so fast and harder than usual because, there was pressure from the opponent. He didn't want to underhit the pass because, that could have caused the opponent to gain an advantage and maybe get the ball and face against Donnarumma. Either way, the problem here is that maybe there was a lack of communication. Maybe the pass itself, the idea itself wasn't the best. But before you knew it, it was already 1-0 Pescara. And from that moment on, it was really uphill for Milan. And to be uphill for Milan against bottom of the table Pescara, to me, is absolutely nonsense. I cannot put myself through this every week. We had a nice 2-week break, I think it was. Where last week there was the international break. So it was nice going into this international break with a win there against Genoa. But coming back from it and players still being on vacation mode, not ready to play, not ready to do anything to get the 3 points, to me, it's really not understandable. There's no reason as to why we should be having problems with teams like Pescara. I think this once again reinforces the fact that, many people continue to say that this team is very unbalanced, maybe very inconsistent, and simply we don't know what to make of this team on a given day. One day we could be the best team against Juventus, we could deserve the 3 points against teams like out of this world, and other days we are just the worst team ever, and we are having problems against bottom of the table, a team that won 2 games, guys. 2 games all season round. In 29 games, they won 2 games, and one of them was a forfeit win. So that is absolutely crazy. Like, how can you tie a team like that? There's really no excuse whatsoever. There's no reason as to why Milan should be in this position. Let alone the fact that I mentioned before, one goal. We only score one goal against the league's worst defense, a team that can see a 66 in 29 games. That's more than a 2-goal against average, and we're only able to score one goal. Not only this time around, but also at the San Siro, where we only beat them 1-0. I don't know what it is, but to be honest with you, what I saw today, I'm going to explain it in very easy words. I'm going to explain it in a very simplistic manner. I believe that we underplayed, or at least we were playing as if we were Pescara today. We got down to their level. They imposed their strategies very well. Very good performance by Pescara. I think they could have even deserved a few more goals themselves today. But what the major issue today was, is that we were underplaying. We were playing just like Pescara wanted us to play. And we weren't able to get organized, we weren't able to score goals, and we were very disorganized, very shambolic, and just simply not ready to play. Okay? As I said before, 9 games were remaining prior to this one in the Serie A. This is not the time to draw points, guys. This is not the time to go out there and have a field day and pretend like everything is good. Oh yeah, we're playing Pescara, easy 3 points, it's a walk in the park. We're going to get those 3 points, we're going to go home, enjoy a nice drink on the terrace, and that's about it. You know, this is not how it works. This is the Serie A. I don't care if the team is in last place and they are destined to go in the Serie B next season. They're just destined to be relegated. They have nothing more to play for. Well, this was a lesson for Milan yet again, because Pescara, a team that really had nothing to play for, because let's be honest, chances are very unlikely that they will be safe in the Serie A this season. But still, you know, they were there. They were out there with dignity. They were out there with ambition. Especially after the first goal, you could just see how much desire and, you know, pleasure they had of playing, and how much willing attitude they had. You know, these are some things that you need to look at. And to me, looking at this weekend's results, where Lazio beats Sassuolo 2-1, Atalanta completely smashed the shit out of Genoa 5-0, and us tying Pescara 1-1, that to me is a very, very poor weekend, okay? Like I said, this is not the time to drop points, especially when our competitors are winning their games, getting 3 points week in and week out. This cannot be happening at this stage of the season. This team needs to be criticized when the time is right, and that time is today, because honestly speaking, yes, we have good performances, but these games are the games you need to close, and we said it many times. Sure, we did this in the first part of the season where we beat Palermo very late. We beat Pescara 1-0. We got the wins. We beat Crotone very late. You know, Cagliari, another team. Yes, we won those games, but why do we continue to have problems against these teams? Why do we continue to not play up to their potential? Why are we not able to close these games? Like I said before, look at Atalanta. They were playing Genoa at home. Genoa was playing at home, yet they were able to score not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 goals. And us were managing 1 goal against Pescara. You know, and then at the end of the season, people say, oh, how did Atalanta get there? Well, maybe they're not the best team on paper, but yet they're getting the results. Yet they're getting those big wins. Yet they're giving the confidence to the fans. Maybe they're over-exceeding their expectations, but still they're getting what needs to be done. They're doing it. That's my point. I'm very pissed off because this is not acceptable at all, you know, and I wish I could even say more about it. But I think everyone understands my frustration. I'm pretty sure a lot of you guys are frustrated with this as well. It was supposed to be an easy 3 points, but then again, Milan shot the bed. Next week, we're playing Palermo at home. Are we going to have a similar performance? Who knows? Now, this result doesn't necessarily mean that we're out of Europe. Let's not forget that we still have to play Inter and Atalanta, I believe. So those 2 games are must wins. Those games, if we drop points against those games, we can wave goodbye to Europe. I'm telling you now, because those are the games, the direct duels, the direct clashes, those are the games that we're going to need to win, no matter what, if we want to make it to Europe, especially given the fact that we are somehow manageable to drop points against Pescara. So if we don't win those games against Atalanta and Inter, trust me guys on this, we can wave goodbye to Europe, because we still have some difficult fixtures coming into this last 8 games. Don't forget, Inter, Atalanta, I think we're also playing Roma. So there's still some difficult games to be played in these 8 remaining games, and you know, we cannot afford to drop any more points, especially considering the fact that teams like Lazio, Atalanta, and Inter continue to win their games. But I want to know your take on this, guys. I'm going to be on reading your comments, your questions in the next 5 to 10 minutes, let's say. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do the whole Skype today. I'm a bit in a rush, so I'm just going to answer your questions based on what you guys thought of the game in the comment section of YouTube. So let me know exactly what you guys think, and I'm going to be getting into your comments right now. Mikael goes on to say that we do not deserve Europe at the moment, and I do agree with that. Pietro, he's in the chat as well. He says everybody that's blaming Donnarumma needs to calm down. He saved our ass so many times, we have ourselves to blame, and that's it. If we don't qualify for Europe, it's because we're not good enough, and I completely agree with that. You know, yes, like I mentioned before, Donnarumma, maybe it was his mistake, maybe it was Paletta's mistake. The thing is done now. The goal was scored. There's nothing else we could talk about there. The damage has been done. But also, let's not forget what Donnarumma has done for us this season, guys. You know, the guy is a human. He's not a robot. He's not a computer. The guy is going to be making mistakes, of course, like every goalkeeper is. Look at Buffon. I can recall like 2-3 mistakes that he made last season that I was like, is that even Gigi Buffon or is it an amateur in net? Every goalkeeper is destined to make mistakes. I can guarantee you this 1000%. I'm a goalkeeper myself, and trust me, I make a lot of mistakes. And obviously Donnarumma is better. I'm not trying to compare here. What I'm trying to say is that mistakes are inevitable when it comes to goalkeepers. And I definitely agree with you, Pietro. You know, he saved our ass so many times. The only thing that we could do is blame ourselves, because these are games that we need to win. Regardless of us letting mistakes like that happen, we should be able to score 2-3 goals against Pescara without a doubt. And yes, maybe we were unlucky in some instances. Maybe, you know, Pescara were a bit heroic in saving their asses in those last few minutes there, with Lapadula having a few chances himself. Romagnoli also hitting the post. But at the end of the day, guys, those are things that nobody will be speaking at the end of the day. And people will be speaking about the final result. No one's going to be thinking about Romagnoli's post tomorrow. Everyone's going to be thinking about the final result. And that is the 1-1 draw against Pescara. Gassan also says Donnarumma is the reason that we are still in the top 10. Honestly, Giuliano Lapadula says Atalanta is hungry. They want to show that what they can, and they want to make Atalanta big. But Milan is a big name, so Milan don't need to win. I can't understand Milan at the moment. And besides this game, guys, okay, even in recent games when we beat Genoa 1-0, feeble performance, guys. You know, these are not the performances that we know Milan of. Yes, it's all nice and dusted when we win games and everyone, you know, is happy about the result and everything. But let's be realistic, you know. How many games did we win this season where we're like, we weren't fully 100% convinced about what we've shown on the pitch? I can recall endless games this season that were just like that. My point is, like you mentioned there, Giuliano, Atalanta go out to win. They go out to play to make sure they get the 3 points, okay? And if the results were a fluke at the beginning of the season, you can definitely not say the same after 30 games played. And this team, yes, they have lost some games in the process, but a team that scores 51 goals in 30 games, where Milan scored only 43, so that's nearly 10 more goals than Milan, and they don't even have the strikers, or at least not paying the money that Milan is paying for their strikers or players in general. That to me is a big problem, okay? That to me is unexplainable. It's a big problem. Like you said, yes, Atalanta could be hungrier, but hungry or not, to me, that is a major issue that until it's resolved, we will be still winning games, that's for sure. but expect to drop points against random teams like we've seen today. Because, you know, if we don't go out there, like I mentioned before, if we're going into these games very passive, these teams will take advantage of that, you know? You're supposed to be dominating these games from start to end. As soon as these little teams, at least by name, see those little deficiencies in you, they will take advantage. They will impose their style on you. And that's exactly what happened today with Pescara. That's exactly what they did. They imposed their style on Milan. Milan, the way that they were playing, it looked like they were playing down to Pescara's level in terms of performance. They were looking like they were playing on the same level. That's what I'm trying to say. They weren't dominant. They weren't the team that, you know, was dictating, that was having that power, that domination on Pescara. They weren't that team today. And to me, that's a big problem. Christy says, Atalanta and Inter will destroy. Those are the teams who deserve Europe. Dimitri says, Gio, forget it. There's no way we are finishing the top 5. Playing like this is just unacceptable. I'm not blaming Gigio or Paletta. I'm blaming them all. Just lost your comment there for a second. Let me just see if I can get back to it. I'm blaming them all from the man who cuts the grass to the top. Completely agree with you. You know, I'm not going to point fingers at individuals today, okay? Because there are very few players that I could say had an exceptional game today. Deulofeu is honestly the only guy that I see making runs, working extra hard to get goals, and whatever the case is. On Pasalic's goal, it was all Deulofeu on that account, on that counter. Okay, yes, sometimes he's selfish, sometimes he tries to do too much, but I'd rather have a guy that tries to do too much and actually gets the job done than a guy that doesn't try at all and, you know, just depreciates the value of the team. That's my point on it. Giuliano also says, Paletta is a great defender, but we need a new defender. Paletta is too inconsistent. Paletta is a good player, don't get me wrong. He's done very good things this season, but I agree with you. He is inconsistent, and the number of yellow cards that he has picked up this season is absolutely absurd. Honestly, so many yellow cards. He's a good player, but like you said, inconsistent. And there's a lot of players like that on Milan that are inconsistent, and unfortunately, at the end of the day, that's exactly the difference. Jamie says, I wish we could play Juve every week as we only play well against big teams. That's very true. Jamie says, hopefully next season we can sign players that all make a difference. Ocampos needs to slow the play down. I also noticed that I think many times he rushes his attacks. It looks like a guy that, I don't know if you guys noticed, but every time he makes runs, he looks like a guy that just wants to throw himself in a mess. Doesn't really care about how many opponents or faces he sees in front of him. If there's 3, 4, 5 players, he doesn't give 2 shits. He's going to go for that run and try to deke them all. That's exactly the type of player that Ocampos is. I completely agree with you there, Jordan. I think he needs to slow down the play, look around, make the right decision, make the right pass. Maybe that could improve his performance as well. Pietro also says we should beat these teams with ease. This is crazy. Other teams that are fighting for Europe win these games. Story of our lives as Milan fans lately. And it's really been the case for a couple of years now, where we just simply always have problems against these teams. And, you know, not to bring back years ago, for example, last year when we were playing against Frosinone, Jesus Christ. Guys, we were losing at the San Siro against Frosinone. Like, what? Like, just, I had to look at the scoreboard a number of times to actually say, is this even real? This has really been the case for Milan in recent years. I don't know what it is, but I think one of the major issues is us not going into these games determined and not really treating the opponents with respect. You know, I think many times in the press conferences, Montella or other players say, we need to respect these teams. What do you mean by respect? Because respect could be, you know, distributed in a number of ways. Do you mean that you shouldn't be playing at your potential because these guys are inferior to you? Or do you mean that, we should be respecting them because they're still a team that's in the Serie A and they could still pose us difficulties? In my opinion, I think it's the first definition of respect that Milan is looking at, because if there was a second definition, I can guarantee you they wouldn't be playing like this, Every team in the Serie A is there for a reason, guys, okay? I don't care if Pescara's lost. I don't care if Juve is first. Every team in the Serie A is there for a reason, okay? Yes, Pescara could be a team that only has 13 points this season, okay? Yes, it's terrible. 13 points. Very, very terrible. But they're still there for a reason, They're not there for teams to go to their home and be like, okay, guys, we're going to sit down. You guys play your game. You guys get the goals. You guys win the game. That's the end of the story. Hell no. These guys are going to wait for you, and they're going to make your life difficult. Yes, at the end of the day, they might not be getting the win. Yes, they might lose another game, as they have done 21 times this season. But they're still going to be trying there. They're still going to be there to make your life difficult and try to somehow gain some self-respect, some, self-redeem, some self-confidence that they haven't shown all season round. That's my point on it. Okay? We cannot go into these games with the idea of saying, okay, we won this game. We're going there. It's going to be an easy time for us. We won this game. This is not the case. This is not the case. Alright, guys. I'm going to have to let you go now, but thank you so much for everyone that tuned in and watched this match review. Once again, I'm very, very disappointed with the result. I honestly can't make any reason out of it, but that is the case. That's exactly what we were fearing for today, and it actually happened. So, guys, thank you all for joining me today. Don't forget to subscribe to Rossoneri TV to stay updated with AC Milan. Don't forget to like the video, and I'll be seeing you guys soon for yet another one. Thank you for watching. This has been Gio signing off, and as always, Forza Milan.